is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from the quarantine zone again, and this time we are here with the Day of the Beast. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, man.
Hey, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, it's so cool to have you here. The new album, Indisputably Carnivorous, is absolutely brutal. It's insane. It is doomy. It is black and death, thrash, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's all over the place. I really want to know what the thought process was behind the making of this brutal beast, pun intended, of an album.
I would say kind of like a culmination of everything that we've kind of done over the years, and we kind of just found the elements that we like the most in all of our albums and just kind of came together, and we're like, all right, so let's just dump all of these ideas into and make the best album that we've made. And it was really important that we had a good production too. So yeah, kind of how it. What do you think? Say that's about how it was, Jeremy?
I would definitely say that over the years, you're influenced by so many different acts and things you grew up listening to, and you somehow got to bring what you think the best of everything is, and sometimes just hammer it. And I feel like on this album, one thing the Day of the Beast has struggled with is keeping a constant guitar lineup, and so like that. I think we have a unit right now, and these two dudes have been waiting to meet. God smashed them together, or somehow collided somehow, and this came out, and it was way more than we could have expected. I've been working with Redmond since 2012. I know what he does, and I've been alongside him with some former label stuff on our early years, and I've been watching him play since he was 17, 19 years old, and then we
played a show together.
Yeah, he joined this band only 20 years later or so, and it was just awesome, and it's just grown and grown and grown, and so I think that's really what kind of came out of this. I don't even think we could even expected it was going to come out as good as we think it sounds.
Yeah, well, what I notice about the sound with the Day of the Beast is that I feel like it is like a bit of a smorgasbord of brutality. Like I see fans of black metal liking this. I see fans of death metal liking this. I see fans I feel like also with a lot of bands like Shadow of Intent or Lorna Shore, Flesh God Apocalypse taking off. I also kind of see you guys going into that market as well. So is it fair to say that the Day of the Beast does take multiple inspirations and have multiple influences?
Absolutely.
Definitely. I mean, I used to play in a tech death band back in the day. And so I even feel like I may have thrown a little bit of that in there on this album. Just splash of tech death, splash of dissection riffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely hear many different influences on that album when I listen to it.
Yeah. I'm a little bit older than Steve. I draw a lot of older influences on a lot of thrashier kind of stuff also. I'm probably one of my favorite bands ever, Overkill. I mean, God, and still crushing it today. And just how to still blend all the different influences and to make what we make. And I still want to ride the rails of a little bit of chaoticness with it, just kind of holding on. I don't have too much perfect, just loose, badass. I don't know.
Well,
right, Redman, is that right?
I interviewed Bobby Blitz before the world ended in 2020 at NAMM, and the guy is such a character. That guy is such an East Coaster. I love it.
Yeah, it just. But we have different personalities, and that's another thing. We all do have different influences, and we do bring everything to the table, and it just makes great. There's never any conflict in this band, and you know how there's so many bands with inner turmoil that the world doesn't even get to know about, but they think, oh, there's a happy unit, and they're not. But no, everything just colludes, and we are all five good characters in this band. I wish Harris be part of it. You should meet our singer sometime. He'd really blow your doors off.
Do you think that the first three singles that you released off of this album is a good representation of what the entirety of Indisputably Carnivorous would sound like, or is that just the tip of the iceberg? Is there a lot more to be discovered on it?
I think it's a kind of a broad overview of the sound of the album as a whole, but I do think that there's a lot more to be, discovered and listened to, because there's quite a variety of songs on there. At least I think that
I agree.
you know, they're not. They all fit together, but they all have kind of their own thing going on.
Yeah.
Definitely more to hear.
Do you like enter the songwriting process with like a preconceived idea of what you want it to sound like, or is there kind of like a lot of improvising involved and a lot of trial and error?
This album, you know, or at least for me, when I sit down in front of my computer, I do kind of have an idea of what, you know, the speed of the song I want it to be. I'll set like a click track to like a certain BPM that I have in mind. That's like, okay, I want it to be a fast one, so I'll do 230 BPM, and then I'll just jam until, you know, things start to come out. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I do kind of have an idea of what, you know, what I want the song to sound like before going into it. But there's also the songs that we jam on at practice, and things kind of evolve and change, you know. And those are also pretty fun. So you never really know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you also do have like a lot of albums out now from the self-titled, and then from 2009 to Relentless Demonic Intrusion that is freaking hard and brutal. I mean, has the Day of the Beast always taken a new approach to every album, or do you try to like stick with a certain sound and maybe stick with a certain formula?
I don't think I would Redman on that. We never really try to stick with the sound. It's just what comes out. That's just what we do. You know, it's like as far as like I'm gonna play the drums the way pretty much I'm gonna play the drums, and like you know, Harris gonna write his vocals to how he writes them, and then that was kind of like going back from even that album forward before Redman even got to come into the band. And then since he has come, I think we have a general idea of what we are, and we stay focused on that. But I think definitely that we go with trying just to create whatever it is that we feel good playing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with every band and with every artist, you always grow and evolve too. So, like, when you go from like the self-titled to the albums that would come after that, I'd imagine that there is a certain form of evolution that you do like to demonstrate, right?
Definitely. I mean, I feel like as far as like, you know, my playing style goes, I wasn't on the first or the second albums. But I think when I kind of joined the band, I was always like a huge death metal guy. Like that was like what I played for years, and that was like all I listened to for so long. And I feel like that kind of shows in the last two Day of the Beast albums. I would say they're a little more death metal. This one I feel like is a good mixture of both thrash and death metal. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really you know, I don't feel like we went into this album like we got to have it sounding this way. It's got to be this specific formula. It just kind of, the songs just kind of came out, and that's, you know.
Yeah, I could tell that you weren't on the first two albums, because when I listen to the first two albums and I compare it to this new album, there is like a lot more technical elements on here. I see like a little bit of
That dude, yes, sir.
Yeah, yep, I do see some more technical elements. I mean, and not to discredit the last two albums, I thought that the last two albums were very raw and very atmospheric and kind of like really were, again, very, very raw. I feel like that this album is very, very polished and has, once again, a lot of technical elements behind it. Like, it's so crisp. I hear every drum beat. I hear every riff. It almost seems like everything was sort of able to stand out.
And that was definitely what we wanted. We've been looking for that crisp production for a while, and we got Zach O'Hearn. I'm not sure exactly if I'm pronouncing his last name right, but he's done the last few Machine Head albums, and he's got a huge resume, and he's phenomenal.
Yeah. And so do you think that having this album, and I know I'm asking this probably way too far in advance, but this album has opened up more doors for songwriting in the future for the Day of the Beast?
I definitely think so. You know, especially with Bobby in the band now, you know, the other guitarist. He was actually going to be on the call today, but he couldn't make it. Him and I kind of have slightly different styles. Like he writes, I feel like he can write an awesome fast song, but he writes a lot more like the groovier songs on the album, or a lot of those are like Bobby's, like I guess you'd call them mid-paced. And then, you know, a lot of the songs I wrote were more like fast, and kind of, I feel like it mixes well. Wouldn't you say, Jeremy?
Especially as the drummer, yes, because I get the best of both worlds in it. I mean, because like I said, I have a huge background where I come from with music. Redman can tell you that I probably have one of the most vast libraries of different artists that anybody's ever listened to, and then it's great to have Bobby. I've been playing music with Bobby in a side project for 20 years, or for different side projects. I've known him since 2000 when I started playing music at all, and for him to come together with Mr. Redmond here, and then like I said, he's right. He's more the technical kind of fast elements in the music, and then Bobby is the kind of more slower thrash style song. And I think they blend well together. And I think these two, like when one writes a solo on the other person's song, they get to really go to a place they've never got to go before, and they get to experiment as well as just do what they do at a really high level intensity. So it's great.
I gotta ask this because again, I'm impressed with the technical aspects of this album. But I gotta ask because every band, no matter how brutal, has one member who's like this. Who is the theory geek in the band? Who is the big theory guy in the band?
I don't think anyone's really a huge theory geek, but I guess you could say that would be Bobby. He definitely is more of like a theory trained guy. I know enough theory to get by, but I find myself rarely ever even really using it. I just kind of play and whatever sounds cool. I just go with the flow. But yeah, I would say Bobby would be more like the theory guy in the band.
Well, as for drumming too, because the famous saying, if your drummer sucks, your band sucks. If you you don't want to fuck that up. But like, do you sometimes have a whole drum pattern laid down, and maybe the band will write over that, or do you prefer to have like music already presented to you before you start laying down your parts?
On both routes on that. On some actually every one of these songs, like Steve said, he would write them in his house and then he would show them to me, and then if to me it sounds right, don't mess up a good thing. And there's parts, and that's what is also fun, because the ability to change or adapt or make something a little bit different is there. But we can, like I said, if it's good what he writes down and try to keep it right on the beat like that, I have no problem doing that, and I'm just happy to love and play the music.
Fair enough.
Even though I always tell you that you can do whatever you want to do on it.
He does always tell me that, but like, he does a good job. He does write something, like you said, and he writes good drum beats. So does Bobby. And like I said, as a guitar player, they have an idea what they want the drummer to do, and as a drummer, I have an idea of what I want to do underneath the guitars. So we find that line right there. I don't have to keep everything right to the stone that it's presented to me in. So I get some freedom of expression with it.
Fair enough. And
we played together for so long, I guess, so we really just know each other so well. When they start playing something for me, I know what they're going to do. I know when they're going to change, unless it's something really abstract they do. Because we're all familiar with each other. It's been a long journey.
And I could tell that when you listen to the entirety of the catalog front to back, you see like an evolution going. You see like, again, when you compare like the earlier stuff, like the self-titled, to this new album, it gets more technical as opposed to more atmospheric. I think, what I find unique about the Day of the Beast is you kind of want to listen to every album in order just to get a good feel of the evolution as well.
You can certainly see that we have grown. We're young, just trying to pound out every single note you can into a measure. And then you sit back and listen to it, and you just grow. As musicians, we've all gotten a little bit better at it, at what we're doing. So it's just kind of probably just put together better these days. But I wasn't on the first album at all, and I kind of at that time wanted to keep the idea of that band in the same go. But again, we had guitar lineup changes, and things changed. So that's kind of what has really, I think, strayed the sound from us. If anything changed, anything more than that would be just the guitar lineups. Guitar players are such the major influence of writing a song anyways.
Especially in this genre.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do feel like Bobby and I both on this album did try to kind of get more of that first album feel going on this album, mixed with everything else that we've done over the last few years. Yeah, that's crazy to think about. Actually, none of us, the only people on that first album were Steve and Justin.
Justin wasn't on that first album. He was on the first album. That's right. Yeah, but he was the original member. Only member that's constant is Steve Harris, singer.
Wow. Well, hey, new members always bring new material, so it's always exciting.
It's been good, and like I said, I think where we are right now, everybody agrees this is the sound we want to go forward with. Whatever this album is, we want to harness it and roll forward with it because it's fun to play in practice. I can say that. When we go out there and we play these songs, I'm having a great time.
Hell yeah. So before we go, I want to thank you both so much for your time today and for a great conversation. I'm really excited for the rest of the world to hear this new album. It's absolutely brutal, and a smorgasbord of brutality is the best way to describe it. Is there just anything else?
Thank you.
Is there just anything else that you would like to promote? Obviously, thanks to a certain virus that shall not be named, shows are still questionable at the moment. But when this bullshit is over, will we be seeing the Day of the Beast on the fucking road a lot? Please bring your asses to New York.
Oh, we will, for sure.
Yeah, we're already planning.
All right.
Yeah, man. We'll definitely be playing some shows. And also we got a music video coming out Friday, the day that the album comes out. I don't know when this video is going to actually
By
come
midnight
out,
tonight, so feel free to plug it now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we got the video for Enter the Witch House. We actually filmed our first music video, so we're pretty excited about that.
Hell yeah.
That'll be along Friday with the debut of the album. So
awesome. Well, thank you all so much. Everybody, we are here with the Day of the Beast. Be sure to check out the new album coming out this Friday, which is Indisputably Carnivorous. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.
All right, bro. Thank you, man.
thanks, man. Thanks for having us.